I'm sure you're all too familiar with the feeling. You queue into ranked hoping for a good game, only to find yourself loading into a map you absolutely despise. We've all been there before, but personally, my frustration with certain maps used to stem from not fully understanding how to play them. That is, until I watched a lot of pro play and high-level ranked games and realized that even small adjustments can make a big difference in your performance on certain maps. Hey guys, it's Konpeki here, and today I'm going to break down at least one mistake you're likely making on every Valorant map in the current rotation, and I'll also give you some simple, actionable tips to help you win more and enjoy even your least favorite maps. Also, if you need more hands-on help to implement these tips and your rank is at least silver, my team of Radiant and VCT coaches can help you rank up 500 RR in just 10 weeks, guaranteed, or you get your money back inside the Immortal Roadmap program. You'll be getting over 100 hours of personalized coaching with hands-on drills, scrims, and one-on-ones to make sure you learn everything you need to hit Immortal Plus. So if you're serious about putting in the work to see results like some of our players and want to work with world-class coaches like Milan, who won champs in 2021, click the link in the description below to book a free call with me or one of our coaches to see if we'd be a good fit. And hurry, because we just opened up signups for the next season of the program and the limited spots fill up fast. Now, back to the video. Let's start off with Valorant's most iconic map, Ascent. By now, everyone understands the importance of map control. Having mid control makes all the difference, and especially if you're using strong defensive utility like a one-way smoke on A main, you can have a solid defense setup that's tough to deal with. But in many ranks, the meta often shifts towards one style in particular, fast 5-man rushes, which makes abusing one-way smokes a difficult strategy to pull off. All it takes is one flash or a drone, and you might find yourself quickly pivoting to having to play on site and opting to smoke the choke point instead. But before you know it, it's also too late. Due to Ascent's short entry paths, attackers can flood the site almost instantly, making it feel pointless to smoke off the mains. Typically, what ends up happening is your teammate that's playing on site ends up receiving the smoke too late to act on it, which leaves them fighting for their life, usually with poor results. But there's a simple adjustment that can change this dynamic and give your teammates the support they need to make a difference. And it'll even help them survive long enough for the rotations to arrive. The solution is straightforward. If it looks like a smoke on main won't land in time to assist your teammates, pivot your plan and smoke on site instead. For example, on A site, smoke between dice and generator, and on B site, try smoking between lane and triple. By doing this, you'll make it much harder for the attackers to clear out the site effectively with their utility. The smokes create pockets of opportunity, which allows your teammates to use the chaos to find picks and stay alive. While this tip focuses on the controller role, it's something to keep in mind even when you're not playing smokes. If you're anchoring a site, for example, all it takes is one good calm to get the support you need and turn the tide of the round. Now moving on to Split. Split has returned to the map pool this act, so let's see how we can turn it into a map that guarantees us some easy elo. If you've played Split before, you've probably noticed how long rotations feel when going through CT spawn compared to mid. The problem is, rotating through mid comes with its own risks, as it's tough to lock down from potential lurkers. This is where the infamous Sage Wall mid comes into play. For defenders, it's a simple yet effective strategy to place a wall in mid. This not only blocks vision, but also gives you crucial information that no enemies are pushing that area. And this allows safer rotations to vents or B heaven when needed. Now, for these reasons, attackers often focus on breaking that wall and pressuring mid before deciding where to push. This can make things tricky for defenders, forcing them to rotate through spawn again, which gives attackers an advantage for late round plays. However, the time attackers spend breaking the wall means they lose the opportunity to take space elsewhere, which gives defenders a chance to push up and take control of key positions that will help later in the round. For that reason, if you're in a situation where the wall strat isn't working as well as you might have liked, I highly recommend taking control of this legendary A ramps position instead. The way you go about that is simple. If it sounds like the attackers aren't starting A, just push up towards the far end of ramps for a passive but powerful off angle. Personally, this is one of my favorite bratty spots in the game, and I always have success with it. That's because it's often overlooked by the attackers, and even when they do check it, it's an awkward angle to clear since they're exposed to A main or heaven at the same time. But the real strength of this position lies in the information it provides. If you've seen my video on power angles, you know exactly what I mean. This angle lets you hold both A main and heaven from a single position, and it even lets you hear if the enemy is rotating through sewers or even through their spawn. And another benefit of this position is that once you secure ramps, it frees up your other A player to rotate more freely and support mid or B. So by holding this single line, you'll gain valuable intel, allowing your late round calls to be more decisive, and it gives your team much better control over the map. Moving on to Sunset. Earlier, I mentioned how 5-man rushing is often the go-to strategy, but there's a specific situation where this approach tends to fail on this map. You've probably experienced it yourself, attempting a B site rush only to get stalled out by a bunch of Sentinel utility. By the time you've spent time and util to get through the choke point, you're met with a defender stack. But how are the defenders so confident that you're committing to B? It all comes down to the door in B market. For defenders, it's a low risk, high reward strategy to leave the door shut. The closed door essentially acts as a free cipher trip for the defenders, which gives them info that they won't be pinched in market from mid during site executes. As a result, every defender on the B site only has to watch the B main choke, and top mid can easily be held by a single tripwire. The obvious solution to prevent B site defender stacks is to have someone break the door before you commit to the B site push, but don't run out of mid for it. There's a safe and effective way to do it. From tiles, you can break the door without the risk of engaging in a gunfight. Passively break the door from this position, then regroup with your team. This small action creates enough pressure for the defenders, which gives you an easier time executing onto B, and even if you decide to cancel your B hit, defenders will have to respect that market is now exposed, so they won't be able to freely rotate over to A. Now, onto the next map, Bind. Bind has been in the map pool for a while, but a common mistake I see is how often Showers gets neglected. Bind is unique with no mid, 2 spike sites, and 2 main entry points for each site. It's crucial to use both pathways when attacking a site. Otherwise, defenders can easily shut down your push with utility. For A site, if your team ignores Showers, the defenders are left with 2 strong positions to fight from, Triple Box and Showers itself. So taking control of Showers is essential for gaining more space on site and setting up a stronger post-plant situation. You don't always need to commit heavy resources to take it either. Sometimes showing some presence at the start of the round or having a player lurk late through Showers can punish defenders who are too focused on short and the spike plant. This subtle pressure can be enough to disrupt their defense, but the importance of early Showers control doesn't stop there. Even when you're attacking B site, having a lurker in Showers is critical. We've all been in rounds where it feels wrong to push a site. Either the defenders have stalled too much time, or you've spotted 4 players stacked on B. This is where the B long to Showers teleport comes into play. It's a powerful way to quickly pivot to A site, and importantly, it's even faster than how fast defenders can rotate. Having Showers control at the start of the round also means that it's safe for the rest of your teammates to teleport without the worry of getting flanked. So next time you're attacking on Bind, make Showers a focal point of your strategy, as controlling this area will give you much better map control, open up more opportunities to secure a plant, and make it easier to adapt mid-round when needed. The next map I'll be breaking down is Haven. Haven is notoriously known for being a retake heavy map. Whether you're on C site, getting full executed with oppressive utility, or on A site, losing control of short and long and regrouping to retake the site, retakes are often a key part of your game plan. But even with that in mind, retakes can feel just as challenging as holding the site. Take A site for example. Jumping out of heaven is too risky, and the players coming out from CT have to push through that awkward cubby, only to face crossfires or coordinated peek off of me plays. In other words, retaking is going to be a struggle, especially if you've made the mistake of not setting up a flank. That's because flanking is one of the most effective ways to split the enemy's attention and prevent them from focusing on a single choke point. On Haven, flanking is particularly strong because of the map's design. Mid is a small central area that connects well to the rest of the map. So if the attackers aren't contesting mid during their executes, or you've confirmed their positions with a Sova Dart, you can rotate quickly for a flank, unlike other maps where longer rotation times make flanking more difficult. Overall, attacking the site from multiple angles will give your team a much better chance during retakes. Plus, as the flanker, you'll have a higher chance of catching enemies off guard and finding 1v1 duels as you force them to spread out. It's a strategy that can make a huge difference in your defender rounds the next time you play Haven. Now, Pearl is another one of the returning maps this act, so I've got 2 tips for you. Let's start with a quick refresher. For a small but impactful tip, if you're not already using the operator when defending on B site, you definitely should. It's the strongest tool for anchoring that long lane, and it can completely shift the momentum of the game. Now, more importantly, the second tip, let's talk about Sentinels, specifically the mistake many players make when dealing with them on this map. Sentinel utility is incredibly powerful on Pearl. With 2 mid lanes connecting to the rest of the map, strong lurking and site splitting plays are very common for the attackers. Sentinel utility therefore helps massively by passively controlling these areas and protecting you against the flanks. While you may have some success with 5-man rushes, especially on the infamous B site, things can quickly fall apart if the defenders use well-placed mollies and utility. This allows the enemy team to rotate through mid safely, which reinforces sites without having to clear every angle, and that means you'll often face stacked defenses. The solution to this? Start defaulting and take mid control before executing on a site. As a team, carefully clear the mid space, taking out any cypher trips, chamber trips, or killjoy turrets on the way. This will open up the map, which gives you a variety of split execute options and a lot of question marks on the map for your enemy. So even if you prefer to group up at mains later on and hit sites with 5-man pushes, clearing mid first will make those rushes far more successful. Lastly, we have Abyss. Similar to Pearl, the key mistake on Abyss revolves around mid control. It's easy to think you can ignore mid on this map because of the long rotations for defenders, which allows you to execute or even re-hit sites without much risk of being punished. However, mid is one of the strongest areas to extract consistent value on Abyss. Unlike Pearl, where Sentinel utility often dominates mid, Abyss's layout makes it harder for Sentinels to control this area. The map's geometry makes utility setups there less effective. This leaves you with plenty of room for effective lurks. By holding passive angles, you can catch defenders rotating through mid instead of spawn, which gives you favorable 1v1 fights. These angles are awkward for defenders to clear, so make sure to have a dedicated lurker controlling this lane. Even if later in the game, the enemy team adapted to your lurks in mid, that fear and caution you've conditioned into them will be more than enough to make an impact. And that'll be it for this video. Thanks for watching.